Hey guys, Logan Battles here, and welcome to another episode of LBFT. This is episode 19 of LBFT Season 2, and this is the first LBFT episode in the year 2019. Woohoo! Happy New Year! Yeah, I know it's all too late to say that already, but by now it's January 4th, but I don't care. I'm going to say it again. Happy New Year! Anyway... Again, this is the first LBFT episode in the year 2019, so that's really cool to say that, and I just want to bring it out in the open for the sake of, bringing it out in the open when we just entered the year 2019 4 days ago. Anyway, or 3 days ago, rather. No, it's 4. Anyway, for this episode, we are going to be... I am going to be getting into my predictions for each and every single playoff game within the 2018 through 19 NFL postseason, or just the 2018 NFL postseason, if you want to call it that. But before I get into that, I want to say this: I originally was about to do this episode on the 2018 Cotton Bowl matchup between the Clemson Tigers and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I was originally going to do that, and I almost did that. But because I thought more about it and how that game turned out, the more I thought about it, the more I realized, this is not the game that I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to be a very competitive game, and if it was very competitive by the end of the game, it'll probably be a worth game to talk about in an LBFT episode. But no, Clemson absolutely destroyed Notre Dame 30-3, and because of that, I didn't want to do an episode on that because I was expecting it to be a much closer game than what that game turned out to be. I was kind of disappointed, but also not. I don't know what the word is for it. I'm not surprised. I mean, I knew Clemson was going to win that game, but I didn't think they would win like this. I had no idea that Clemson would beat up a team that I thought was going to give Clemson a run for their money. I really did. But anyway, I was originally going to do an episode on that, but because of how that game turned out, like I said, it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to be, so it's not really worth a game to mention it. So, I almost was about to talk about a college football game in an LBFT episode for the first time since, what was it, episode 6? Where I talked about my Seminoles 24-3 loss to Virginia Tech. Was that the final score? I think it is. But anyway, I think it was just episode 6, since I was about to talk about a college football game that I actually cared about, and one that I thought was going to be very competitive, but it wasn't. It was a one-sided contest. And for this, by kicking off this episode, we are going to be talking about what is it? Okay, the AFC wildcard round, number 1, between the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans, Andrew Luck against the Houston D, and Deshaun Watson against the Indianapolis Colts defense, if you're wondering what I mean by the letter D. If you hadn't been into football. This is going to be a very tight game. I'm hoping it is going to be a very tight game. It'll be very interesting. I think it will be a very defensive game within the first half, mainly the first quarter, I would say. But by the end, both offenses will score touchdowns. And the fact that the Indianapolis Colts, even though I think they are arguably a better team than the Houston Texans because of how they performed this season, particularly Andrew Luck now having an offensive line to protect him from a sack or anything that it was put on pressure on Andrew Luck for the last previous seasons that he had to go through with that terrible offensive line. Because of that, and Houston having a somewhat good offense. I mean, their offense is no joke. I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm just saying that Indianapolis Colts offense as well as their defense is better. But I must say, the Houston Texans might survive this game within the last minute of the game with a field goal. And since I already said it, I'm picking the Texans to win this game by just a field goal, 31-28. I know that Indianapolis is a better team than Houston, but because the Indianapolis Colts play the Houston Texans at their home turf, I would give Houston the edge, a slight edge, over the Colts. The Texans, with Deshaun Watson as their quarterback. Now, going to the NFC wildcard game number one, between the Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, NFC East Division champions, and the Seattle Seahawks clinching their playoff berth, what was it, a few weeks ago? 2 or 3? I'm trying to remember, but anyway. But both of these teams, they're very competitive. I really like Russell Wilson and what he and this running back, Doug Baldwin, are doing, particularly within the last few weeks of the regular season. I like what I'm seeing from those dudes, as well as their defense. I wouldn't. Their pass rush, I will say, is very good, but their running defense, not so much. I think they are like 7th against the rush. I think they're the 7th worst rushing defense in the National Football League. Allowed the 7th most rushing yards per game, I think. The 7th worst defense in terms of rushing yards allowed. But anyway, Seattle, good team as well. Seattle, good team as well as Dallas. Even though Dak Prescott hasn't been really that impressive to me, Ezekiel, I can't say his name right. Ezekiel Elliott played very well this season. He's probably their best player on the team, the best player in Jerry World, or the Dallas Cowboys, I should say. And Amari Cooper, even though I will give credit to Jerry Jones for having Amari Cooper as a good addition to this Dallas Cowboys roster, it was a good move by Jerry Jones' part to make a trade, or trade the first round, replace a second round pick. I don't know exactly which round, but it was a round pick with Amari Cooper. So I give him credit for that. But for the last few weeks, I haven't seen much from Amari Cooper, I must say. And because I have not seen much from Amari Cooper, now granted, I haven't watched every game that the Cowboys have played, but I have watched a few, especially ones with Amari Cooper playing with them. Because of Dak Prescott not being that impressive, and Amari Cooper being covered multiple times, at least from what I saw, I'm going to give. This is also going to be a very competitive game, but I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm picking them to win this game by 1 point. That's right, just 1 single point. I'm giving them to win the game over the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World, Jerry Jones's billion-dollar playpen. 28-27 is the final score I'm predicting the Seahawks will have. Seahawks 28, Cowboys 27. 1 point, Seahawks. moving to the AFC wildcard 2, wildcard matchup number 2, the Los Angeles Rams against the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be a really good game, I must say. A rematch to what was it, week 14 or 15 matchup where the Baltimore Ravens absolutely beat the Los Angeles Rams at their home turf, 22-10. I mean, come on, that's just very impressive. I mean, I knew that the Ravens were going to beat them, but I didn't know they were going to win like that. But anyway, the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers are playing at Baltimore, they're on the road against Lamar Jackson, and that a high-powered defense by Baltimore Ravens. The high-powered Baltimore Ravens defense, probably the number one defense in the NFL. I gotta give the win to Baltimore. I'm giving Baltimore the win. 21-17, I would say, is the final score. Would be the final score. Would be the final score I predict to be in this game. Baltimore 21 and the Los Angeles Chargers 17. I know that the Los Angeles Rams are a very well balanced team. People keep saying that, a very well balanced team for most of the regular season. I get all of that. I get how legit their offense and their defense is. Their defense, I can't take any credit away from. Joey Bosa and Derwin James, my man Derwin James. And on the offensive side of the ball, Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, and Keenan Allen, very talented Chargers players like them. I can't take any credit away from the Chargers. But they faced the Ravens on the road. Nah, I'm going with the Ravens. They'll win this rematch by 21-17. They will win this game 21-17. NFC wildcard game number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Chicago Bears. Oh boy. It's really. Excuse me. Man, this is really tough to say. Both teams are very good. The Philadelphia Eagles with Nick Foles, they've been playing very well within the last couple of weeks of the regular season, since Carson Wentz went down with an injury. Again, Nick Foles and Alshon Jeffrey and who else? I can't remember, but them Eagles offensive players, they're very good. But the Chicago Bears defense, they are something else. They are something special to behold. Their defense is not to be taken lightly. Their defense is not to be taken lightly. My lord, have you seen them play this season? Have you seen the way they keep going at opposing offenses? Have you seen the way Khalil Mack performed this season? This Chicago Bears defense led by Khalil Mack are something else. And because of that, combined with somewhat average quarterback Mitchell Trubisky, I don't think he's that impressive either, much like Dak Prescott was. I know that Mitchell Trubisky is not a good quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but because of that legit defense led by Khalil Mack, and I think that Mitchell Trubisky, even though, again, he hasn't been that impressive, I think he'll find a way to get through that Eagles defense. Because the Eagles defense, I think, hasn't been up to snuff. At least a few of the last few weeks of the regular season. So because of that, I'm picking the Bears to beat the Eagles 24-10. I think that will be the final score of the game, I'm predicting. Yeah, 24-10, Bears. Now, that's the rest of the wild card round. NFC and or the rest of the NFL wild card round. Let's move on to the NFL divisional round. We have the AFC divisional round game number 1. The Baltimore Ravens. I have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce, with my man Kelvin Benjamin, with Damian Williams, I think is his name, and the rest of the crew. I mean, this is also a rematch to one of the mid-season games that the Chiefs and the Ravens have, where the Chiefs beat the Ravens by a field goal in overtime. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that. Now, again, this might be the biggest challenge that the Baltimore Ravens will ever have in the playoffs, particularly in this divisional round, when they go up against the Chiefs on the road. I mean, they're going up against the Chiefs on the road yet again, this time in the playoffs. I mean, I'm giving that. I mean, this is going to be a tight ball game, like the other game they had back in the regular season. But I think the Chiefs will win and beat the Ravens once again. Beat them in this rematch. I would say the Chiefs will beat the Ravens 24-21. Again, by a field goal. It's going to be a very tight, competitive game. But I'm going to give Chiefs the edge to beat the Ravens. Moving on to the, what is it? Oh yeah, the NFC divisional round game number 1. I have the Seattle Seahawks going up against Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks going up against Drew Brees and the Saints in New Orleans. Going to New Orleans and face Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of type of ball games that I'm predicting here, but this might be a very tight, high-scoring offense. I don't think that this game will be a 20-point scoring game, but by both teams. I don't think this would. I really don't think that will happen. I do think this will be a very high-powered offensive game. You know, both teams scoring touchdowns, one touchdown after another on each other. But I will say that because that the Saints are playing at home against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, I'm going to give the Saints the victory. I'm going to give them the win over the Seattle Seahawks with a final score that I'm predicting would be 35-31. Yeah, very high-scoring game. Again, I don't think that this game will go to 20-plus points. I think it will go to 30-plus points by both offenses. I really do. So, yeah, again, it will be a tight ball game, probably near the end of the game, I would say. But, yeah, I would look forward to that game if the Seahawks beat the Cowboys, which I predict they will. But, yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. AFC Divisional Round Game number 2. Houston Texans against the New England Patriots. I picked the Texans to go up against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the Patriots. You get it. I'm going to give the Patriots the edge. I know that I understand that the Patriots haven't been themselves lately, late this regular season. I mean, you look at their loss to Miami, the Miami Miracle with that hook and lateral that won the Miami Dolphins to win, as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Patriots in a low-scoring game, a 10-plus point game. I mean, the Patriots haven't done so well on the road. I mean, their road record is just didn't really look that good. I mean, at home they look they're pretty good. They're pretty good in what is it? Boston? I mean, I know it's Boston, but I can't remember the name of their stadium. Gilead. I can't. Anyway, forget it. I know that the Patriots haven't done so well, but that was only because they didn't do so well on the road. They're not very good on the road, but at home they can win. They can do so well at home, I believe. So because they're playing on the road, and they go up against a somewhat impressive Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins as their receiver, and J.J. Watt as their one of defensive players. Excuse me. I'm picking the Patriots to win this game. I'm picking them to win this game by a touchdown with the extra point, 31-24. I'm still picking the Patriots to go to the AFC Championship game, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm picking them to win this game. So, moving on to the NFC Divisional Round game number 2, the Chicago Bears against the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams having a first round bye, like the Saints have in the NFC. The Rams haven't been themselves very lately, particularly Jared Goff. He hasn't looked that impressive within the last few weeks, but that was only because Cooper Kupp went down with an injury, and that was Jared Goff's favorite receiver to throw the ball at, and because Cooper Kupp went down, the Rams haven't been as really high-powered offensively as they were early in the season. So and when you look at that combined with the Chicago Bears and the way their offense performed, and particularly Mitchell Trubisky, you got to look at this game as a somewhat defensive game. You got to look at it as a defensive game by both defenses. I mean, this will be a very tight defensive battle by both of these teams' defenses. But who do I think will win this game? Even though I will say that the Chicago Bears have been looking better within the last few weeks than the Los Angeles Rams have, the fact that the Chicago Bears are playing the Rams, are on the road facing against the Rams, I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game, but not by a big margin. I'm picking them to win. Ooh, this is a tough one. I would say by 1 point, like I said about the Seahawks-Cowboys game. I picked the Seahawks to win against the Cowboys by 1 point, 28-27. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Rams, with picking the Rams to beat the Bears by 1 point. 21-20, I'm predicting would be the final score of the game. Los Angeles Rams going to the AFC Championship game going to the NFC Championship game against the New Orleans Saints, who I'm predicting will beat the Seattle Seahawks in a high-scoring game. Somewhat high-scoring. And that is the rest of the NFC Divisional Round. Let's move on to the NFC Conference Championships. The NFL Conference Championships. The NFC Championship, or the AFC Championship between the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs, my favorites to go to the AFC Championship, and the NFC Championship game between the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints, also my favorites to go to the NFC Championship game. Now, looking at the AFC Championship game, you see I have the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs both picking both of them to go to the AFC Championship game. And I said, if you watched any of my previous episodes of LBFT, you would know that I said on plenty of occasions that I picked the Chiefs to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. And I'm still going to feel that way unless the Patriots lose to the Houston Texans. If the Houston Texans beat the Colts, which is likely, but I don't think it would happen. But again, still likely. So, I'm still picking the Chiefs to beat the Patriots. But by how much, you would ask? Well, I know that I noticed that the Patriots defense has improved within the last few weeks of the regular season in terms of points allowed. You know how many the fewest points they've given up within the last few weeks of the regular season. I just noticed that they have improved on their defense. I've noticed much fewer than, or much less than the points they gave up very early in the season. So, but I think their defense, in terms of points allowed and yards allowed, they will crumble yet again. Defensively, they will. And because of that, along with Patrick Mahomes and that offense he has with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Kelvin Benjamin and Damian Williams, along with Andy Reid coaching the Chiefs are going to be too much for the Patriots to beat the Chiefs, especially at the at Chiefs Stadium, I think. Or no, Arrowhead Stadium. That's what it's called. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the Chiefs fans that have that I have messed up their stadium's name. I apologize. At Arrowhead Stadium, it's going to be a very different environment to the Patriots playing on the road in the playoffs against a home team that is very likely to win. And I do think that the Chiefs will win, or are going to be the winners of this game. But again, by how much? Well, like I said many times about several of these previous NFL playoff games I predicted, this is going to be particularly the Saints Seahawks game, which I predicted would happen because of my prediction of the Seahawks beating the Cowboys. I think that this will also be a high-scoring game. But the Chiefs, I think, will win in a high-scoring game. 34-27 is my score prediction for this game. A final score prediction for the game. 34 Kansas City Chiefs and 27 New England Patriots. Kansas City Chiefs representing the AFC to enter the Super Bowl. So I'm picking the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl and represent the AFC. Now, looking at the NFC Championship game, I'm predicting the Los Angeles Rams against the New Orleans Saints. This is yet another rematch to one of the regular season games that the Rams and Saints have. And the Saints beat the Rams by 10 points, 45 to 35. That was the final score of that game. The Saints won. And the Rams are going to be playing in New Orleans against the Saints once again. This time in the playoffs. I'm picking the Saints to beat the Rams once again. I'm picking them to win again against the Rams. But by how much? It's really tough to say. But I also think this will be a high-scoring game, much like I said about the AFC Championship game, picking the Chiefs to beat the Patriots 34-27. This will be a 30-plus point game, I would say, by both teams. I think both of these offenses will show up, and their defenses won't do anything to stop the quarterbacks. Rams defense won't do anything to Drew Brees, even though Aaron Donald is a really legit defensive player. And who else? Ndamukong Suh. I think he's still there. Or maybe he went down with an injury. I don't know. I haven't catched up on the updates. But basically, I'm picking the Saints to win this game by, I would say, a field goal. 3 points. 38-35 is the final score I'm predicting for the Saints to beat the Rams once again. So I got the Saints representing the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. Winning as NFC champions, and then represent the NFC to go to the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, who I picked, did pick to go to represent the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. So, based on that, I have a Super Bowl 53 matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New Orleans Saints. I'm predicting the Saints to go to the Super Bowl as the NFC champions, and I have picked the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl as the AFC champions. Both teams going up against each other. That is going to be a very great game to watch. I really could not wait to see if that game is going to be going to become a reality. That would be legit. And when I picked the Saints to go and the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl or play in the Super Bowl, I'm looking at one of the regular season games that the Chiefs and have against the Rams, who they lost to by a field goal, 54-51. One of the highest scoring NFL games, probably of all time, if not the highest of all time in the NFL. I look at that game, and the reason why I said that is because I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints, I look at their offense, and then I look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and the way both of these offenses have performed throughout the season, the regular season. And I say to myself, this is not going to be a defensive game by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. This is definitely not going to be a defensive game. I can tell you that much. It's not. Both defenses are not going to do very well against both offenses. One defense not doing well against one offense, and another defense not doing so well against another offense. This is going to be a very tight offensive battle between both of these teams. But this is a very tough game to predict because I really like what I'm seeing from both of these teams. Woo. Who do I pick to be the Super Bowl champions of 2018? Who do I pick to be the 2018 Super Bowl champions? I am picking the New Orleans Saints to win Super Bowl 53. Only by 1 point. Yet again, by 1 point. In a high-scoring game. And what's the score I'm predicting? The final score that I'm predicting would be 35-34. I picked the Saints to win Super Bowl 53 against the Kansas City Chiefs by 1 point in a high-scoring matchup in the Super Bowl. 35-34. That's what I'm predicting. So I have the New Orleans Saints being the 2018 Super Bowl champions. Drew Brees and Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints being the two-time Super Bowl champions, winning their first Super Bowl since 2009, or second Super Bowl rather. Winning for the first a Super Bowl for the first time since 2009 when they won their first Super Bowl together. And that's really cool. So yeah, I have the New Orleans Saints being the 2018 Super Bowl champions against the Kansas City Chiefs, who I picked to almost win the Super Bowl, but then realized that New Orleans Saints are probably the team to take the Lombardi Trophy as champions. So anyway, guys, those are my predictions for the entire 2018 through 19 NFL postseason. My predictions for each and every single NFL playoff game in the 2018 postseason. Now comment down below to let me know what you think, and also let me know which two NFL teams do you think will reach the playoffs, and which one of the two teams will win the Super Bowl. Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please click the like button and comment down below to let me know which NFL do you think will reach the Super Bowl and win it. Comment below and let me know. If you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future episodes from me, please press the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next episode of LBFT. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight.